Now, a lot of people has not yet grasped the idea of raising capital funding online through the unconventional method of social media platforms. Everybody thinks that raising capital funding involves, physical knocking as well as pitching into investment groups, VCs, and family offices. But in a modern social era, online could be the best channel to raise capital funding for your business. Let's get started to find out more. Now, I started my business almost a decade ago, and before that I was a stay-home mother for many years. I started my Facebook account as I remember it, but my first business was actually selling hair clips and hair accessories for daughters. So I'm targeting mothers as my target audience, but it has the potential to, grow bigger, supply department stores or ship to several countries. And as soon as I got ambitious, I was talking to myself that probably I need some capital injection. I didn't come from a rich family, and my savings was never enough to grow the company. And I didn't know the process about getting a bank loan, especially when I just got started. So I thought, okay, let's try to raise investments. But when I thought of raising investment using social media platform, I knew this is not going to be instant. It's not going to be immediate where you just post out something and expect some random person to send you money. It takes some time to actually build up a profile that is trustworthy enough for strangers or for people on social media to be interested in what you do, to then consider investment with you. So I spent 2 years writing a blog, partially about motherhood, but also about my life juggling my business selling hair clips accessories. I was already into some department stores, so that's a nice story to tell of how I worked hard in order to get my products to the stores every day. Now, this story obviously warms the heart of many people, and people follow my blog because they follow the journey naturally. So without understanding it at that time, subconsciously, I was building up an amazing personal brand that enhanced online trust with people I don't know in person. And later on, when I actually requested for investment in the year 2011 on social media, so I put out on the internet and said, hey, if I were to ask for investment to potentially grow my business, would anybody fund me? And it was really a random question which I wasn't expecting an answer or necessarily a positive closure. But actually from that one post on social media, after 2 years of blogging as well as posting on social media from a personal branding perspective, I actually raised $75,000 in a week. So in 1 week, several strangers came forward and basically actually funded $75,000. It was in my account and I'm wondering, okay, now I technically have to move this money and invest it so that I could grow businesses. There's no way I could, lay back and don't do anything now that I've taken in somebody else's money. It becomes my obligation to invest that so that I can return them, interest. So I took it as a personal loan in the beginning because I wasn't sure yet what is straight equity financing when I first started out. So I was just a simple stay-home mother who started a small business selling hair clips and just raised $75,000. And I thought it was luck in the beginning, but I was absolutely shocked when I did it several times again the next 2 years with proper strategy of personal branding, targeting the right audience, putting out content that builds interest and therefore enhancing online trust. Eventually, I did many more rounds of capital raise via social media. And at the time, mind you, this is prior to 2016, that I have not even owned or have a LinkedIn account. So I'm just using Facebook, which is secondary to LinkedIn because people would assume Facebook do not have the profiles of potential investors. But angel investors are generally everywhere. One thing to keep in mind is angel investors could be anybody who is employed or self-employed. It doesn't have to be a very extremely rich person, but somebody with a surplus of probably 10,000-20,000 a year who's willing to take that risk in investing in private equity or great business ideas as angel investors. So I did that on social media, on Facebook several more times from the period of 2011 up to 2014 and raised more than a 6-digit figure just via online. Obviously, when the connection is established online, we do have a legal mandate to close off the process formally just to make sure that it's not money laundering or anything, just to make sure that it's a legit investment loan. And my investors came from several countries, neighboring countries, from Hong Kong, Malaysia and Singapore. Fast forward, I actually reinvested that money and developed and incubated more business ideas. So other than the business that I was doing with hair accessories, the funds also contributed to many other companies that I incubated, like the baking studio. I had a beauty academy. I also had art schools, tuition centers. So I was investing in literally some businesses that I have knowledge of in that industry. And I exited all 6 businesses at some point, selling off the businesses and recouping my capital and repaying my investors as well as their interest. But at some point, I wanted to raise even more capital funding, and I didn't want it to be an investment loan hanging over me. So I decided to venture into trade equity financing. And I did that in the period of 2016 when I built my first tech company, and I went on LinkedIn early 2017 with the purpose of raising capital funding through more professionals on LinkedIn. I knew about LinkedIn being a better platform than Facebook, and I'm yet to find out whether my social media strategy of raising capital funding would work. And I went on 2016 and I did successfully raise capital funding as early as end of 2017. End of 2017, and I raised one more time around July 2018. So far, my company is still raising some investment here and there via social media, and it proved to be a working method for a lot of startups, founders, and entrepreneurs to consider as one of the unconventional method of raising money. Now, capital is interesting. I know some of us would say, hey, I prefer to bootstrap, but at some point after you bootstrap and you have a go-to-market product and you know that with scalability, you have a potential to have bigger market share and earn better revenue, at some point you will need capital funding. It could be much later on in your business, or it could be very early at the pre-seed or seed stage of your business. But regardless, as it is a process that's almost inevitable for most businesses, you might want to consider or learn all the ways of how raising capital funding would be like in the future. Now, forget about how everybody has done it in the past. I'm a person who don't like to literally knock on 100 doors hoping one open just because of the time consuming, just because it could be demotivating, facing a lot of rejection time after time. So I wanted to attract the right people who are already interested with what I do, and therefore giving them enough information to understand deeper and support with legal mandate to make sure that the formalities are in order. And by doing that, naturally all those people who are interested would most likely convert into my potential investors. So angel investors are easy to find on social media because they're literally everywhere, especially on LinkedIn. People are always looking up for great ideas that they can invest at very, very early stage, especially if they have deep trust on what the founder is, the track records of the founder, the experience of the founder, and they could learn all of that through your personal branding on social media. So that's why I always encourage a lot of startups and founders to invest in personal branding, because personal branding is what put out and showcase your best qualities, your greatest ideas, your execution plans, your accreditation and accolades to people who don't know you, who don't have a chance to know you physically, who would never cross paths with you in person. Social media is the one that's able to connect us with a pool of people outside our normal vicinity. So in order to reach out to more investors and potential people who believe in what we do, that person doesn't have to be somebody close to us or somebody we have to meet physically. My angel investors come from more than 10 countries, including Dubai, Indonesia, USA, India, Singapore, Malaysia, and more. So, and from personal experience, because I feel that it works so well for me, I personally feel that if you were to try out this unconventional method of building a proper personal branding of yourself, of showcasing, your plan and your execution plans for your business idea, you potentially might be able to reach out to a larger pool of people who are interested in what you do and willing to fund you. So if you're tired of physically knocking doors or standing, physically pitching to people with high rate of rejection, you might want to consider this as one of the methods to raise capital funding. I do help a lot of startups with reviewing their VC decks last year, but this year I do want to start educating a lot more businesses of using this strategy of raising capital funding at ease on social media. Of course, it all boils down to whether your business idea is good or whether your industry is demanding of that service. But other than that, as long as you have a great business deck, a good track records, a great personal brand, you'll be able to reach out people who will believe in what you do. And it's always passion that buys people. And as soon as people could feel passion, whether it's through your online presence, your posts, or your videos on LinkedIn or on social media platform, people could feel it across. And when they do, that's when they're gonna fund you. Now, I hope that this video has been useful for you. This is just my personal story of how I raised capital funding over the many years. And I moved monies more than a 6-digit figure across the online transactions, of course supported by my legal mandate and my corporate accountants. So if you're looking to raise money and you have any questions, please leave a comment and I'll be happy to address them. And if you enjoyed the video, do share them around and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And when you do, turn on the notifications so you get updated of my future videos as well. I look forward to share more of my business and entrepreneurship journey. Don't forget to also connect with me on LinkedIn, where I share articles and motivational business posts every day. See you again next time.